Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be working on this neutral V-split tumbler. We're going to start off with a prepped and cleaned stainless base, and we don't need to do any spray paint prep prior to this. So we're going to go in with the 12 by 12 sheet of vinyl that you're going to be working with. This one is from Paint Between Dreams and Peachy Olive Glitters. I will link everything in the description box as usual. We're going to start by folding the vinyl corner to corner into a triangle. You could also use a ruler and put that corner to corner and use your X-Acto knife to slice it. Anyway, will work just fine. Next, we're going to apply this vinyl using the hinge method. That is just cutting off a little section of the backing and lining it up along the top rim of your tumbler, and then laying down the exposed section, pulling the backing, and then gliding the vinyl on while simultaneously pressing the backing off. This one is really great about being able to be removed if you do end up laying it on crooked, anything like that. It's repositionable. I can't speak for all vinyls, so tread lightly if that's something that you need to do. And then once we've got this applied, we're just going to score off that seam on an angle. They'll basically overlap and create a little tip of a triangle at the top. The point where that overlaps, that's where you'll need to cut that seam. And then once that's applied, we're gonna go right along the edge with this 1-inch painter's tape. You're gonna try to make sure it's as close to the vinyl as possible, because this tape is going to determine where the ivory portion of the tumbler is going to lay. And once the vinyl striping is on, if this portion with the tape, if this is off center, the gold striping that you're going to lay over top of it is also going to be off center. The points of the tops and bottoms of those triangles are not going to meet up, and your design's going to look crooked. Okay, so once you know everything has been centered as far as the painter's tape goes, we're going to go in with a little bit of pop of color paint in the color Blush. I completely overdid this. I did not need that much paint and glue mixture whatsoever. So you need a lot less than you think, so don't overdo it like I did. Anyway, so we're gonna go in with the pop of color, and I'm using the Crystalac glitter glue. You can also use Mod Podge, it doesn't matter, it should apply the same. And then we're going to use just a paintbrush, apply that to the exposed stainless, and then once that's applied, you're immediately going to cover that with Barely There from Peachy Olive Glitters. I tell you guys in every tutorial that I do, I have a discount code with Peachy that is Mitten10. That is linked in the description as well. And once the glitter is applied, I'm gonna let that dry for a couple of hours and coat it with the Crystalac glitter glue sealer to make sure that's not going to move. And then we'll move into the next steps to finish up that second portion of glitter. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys a hack that I accidentally discovered. I have this transfer tape that I don't like for decals, but I do like how it sticks to vinyl to cover it if I need to cover it to spray paint anything, things like that. If I don't want to cross-contaminate glitter, if I'm doing like a half split cup. This doesn't work very well covering the glitter portion because it's not as sticky, but it works perfectly for vinyl, covering vinyl, because it comes off easily and it's not going to pull that vinyl up. So I just take that piece of transfer tape, cover that on the vinyl, and then the bottom portion I'm using this press and seal saran wrap to cover the glitter. So I'm just gonna find the sharp point on that and put it on the sharp point on the glitter, and then wrap it around the cup. And then once those pieces overlap, I'm just gonna twist up the bottom and it will stick to itself. Once I've got the press and seal in place, I'm going to line the edge of that with my 1-inch painter's tape just to make sure there's a tight seal there, that my spray paint's not gonna drip down into that glitter that's already been applied to my cup. And then we're gonna spray paint this with Rust-Oleum Ivory. The Chantilly glitter is pretty translucent, so it takes on the base, the spray paint base that's underneath it. And I really love how Chantilly looks on an ivory base. You guys have probably seen me do this like 100 times. You're probably sick of it, honestly. But I love it. I love the ivory like creamy look. So 10 out of 10, recommend using that on all of your cups. Once I've got the spray paint on the cup, I'm going to immediately pull just the bottom portion of the press and seal and the tape just to make sure nothing's dripping down into that glitter. If it is, I want to catch it as soon as possible so it doesn't make a giant mess. And then I'm just going to go back through and retape with that 1-inch painter's tape. And once that's applied, you've got everything pressed down. We're going to use the epoxy method to apply Chantilly to this tumbler. You can use Mod Podge or glitter glue if you would prefer. It'll work the same. I just like the coverage that I get with the epoxy method because it's so translucent. I find that lighter glitters, I tend to see streaks underneath it. I don't get that with Mod Podge, so that totally could be something that I'm doing wrong. I'm not a huge fan of the Mod Podge method, so it's not something that I practice a ton, so it totally could be on my end. Once you've got your glitter applied, you want to immediately pull both the top and bottom tape that you've got laid down. If you leave it on there too long and you remove it after it's dry, it's going to pull up chunks of the Chantilly glitter that you've got laid down. So next we're gonna go in, I just did 1 coat of epoxy. Because this is textured vinyl, it's super forgiving. This one honestly didn't have any bumps because the glitter is so fine, but if you do find yourself where you've got little pokey bits sticking up. With textured vinyl, it doesn't show through. As long as it's not a huge piece of glitter that's poking up, it's very forgiving. So you can go in after just one coat depending on how thick of the viscosity of the epoxy that you're using. This one I just cut 11.5 by 0.10, and then the little stripes 11.5 by 0.05. So I'm gonna lay the thicker points down, making sure that where they intersect is exactly where the tip of the Chantilly glitter is meeting up. Like I said in the beginning, if your points are off, your design's not going to flow together well. It's going to look completely off center. So make sure that you're spending lots of time on this to make sure your points are going to match up when you cut them. And then once they intersect, you're going to take the 2 points. I don't know how to explain this without sounding stupid. So the point where the V is on the top and the bottom, you want to cut it directly down the center, and then you're going to pull your vinyl from both sides, and it's going to give you a perfect slice. I should have zoomed in on this. It's going to give you a perfect slice instead of cutting it off to the side, which is what I did in the original version of this. So this is going to make it look completely seamless. You can barely see where you're cutting that vinyl, where it's intersecting, and I'll let this play through as we finish up the rest of the pinstriping. Okay, now that we've got all of the vinyl applied, we're going to go in with polycrylic like I normally do. Just one coat of that to make sure that vinyl is not going to lift, and then you're going to epoxy until smooth. I hope you guys love this tutorial. If you recreate this, let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already. Hit that bell button if you'd like to be notified of new tutorials every weekend. I've linked my Facebook group in the description box along with all of the products and discount codes, and I will see you guys next weekend.